Hello and welcome. The American elections have come and ended, and your president, somebody known as Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was one of many presidents who called the United States to congratulate the winner in the person of Donald J. Trump. Now, when I heard that news that Bola Ahmed Tinubu called President-elect Donald Trump to congratulate him on his victory, I was befuddled. I was amazed. I was krinkum, because that congratulation from Bola Ahmed Tinubu in itself to Donald J. Trump was a ridicule to the very sensibilities of Nigerians. Now, here is a person who believed that the only way you can win elections in Nigeria is by grabbing, snatching, and running away with election. It is a huge insult on the system of American election for somebody with this belief to call American president-elect to congratulate him. I don't know what you think, but this is how I think. And trust me when I tell you that to say I am disappointed in Bola Ahmed Tinubu is to say the least. Because if you have emerged from a system that is indeed transparent, such as the one you are calling to congratulate, one wouldn't have any problem with it at all. But here we have a man who accentuates the system that promises corruption, a system that promises people who are corrupt to continue being corrupt, call it a system that is transparent, that produced the will of the people, and congratulating. Tell me, in the spirit of common sense, how does that make sense in the world of common sense? I'm totally ashamed. And talking about the presidential election in America, some of you who live in America think living abroad is an opportunity to ride on a high horse. And when you see some of us from Nigeria making comments about America, you think we don't have the right to comment because, hey, we are not living in America, so we don't know a thing or two about living in America. But science has provided us, the world now is a global community, and we see things. I have decided to remain quiet about the American election because we have come to a time when our minds, our decisions, our ability to observe variables are no longer a prerogative of ours. Things that happens and our ability to take decisions based on the things that happens are no longer our prerogative. We now have a globalized system controlled by a few people who want you to think the way they think, decide what they decide, and believe what they believe. And if I may make a small reference to the Bible, God uses people that are not exactly the candidate that you will choose if you are in the same place as God. The choice parameters of God is not the choice parameters of man. If you read the Bible, everybody that God chose for a mission are not exactly the type of qualified personnel that man will use to carry out his mission. And I'm always fascinated when I make this example. Moses was a stammerer. Moses was a hot-tempered personality, a stammerer and a hot-tempered man. Then you are asking him to go and tell Pharaoh, let my people go. You chose a stammerer and a hot-tempered man to be an intermediary between you and Pharaoh. It makes no sense. But God does not look at your imperfections. God does not look at your physical imperfections. God focuses on your intrinsic values. And what were those intrinsic values in Moses? One, Moses grew up in the palace as the senior brother of Pharaoh. Only somebody who understands the schematics of the palace, the culture of the palace, and who has a royal figure. Moses was tall, stoutly built, princely built, and speaks in the language of the palace. So beyond his physical attribute, he has a palatial attribute. And hence, he was the only one among the Jews who were mostly slaves, who had scars on their backs, who were always subservient to the Jews, to the Egyptians. Who else can go to Pharaoh and say, let my people go? It's Moses. So when I see people, Nigerians, and some of you Nigerians who are in America, I don't know how you got to America. I don't know how you got to America. But when somebody comes and said he is going to repatriate people who got to America illegally, and you call him a racist, I am a Trump supporter, and I don't owe anybody apology. I have been a Trump supporter. Trust me, before I take a side, I weigh the rods and cones. Before I take a side, I weigh the rods and cones. I don't allow my biases and sentiments to get in the way. When somebody comes to a rally and says, Jesus is Lord, and somebody says, hey, you are in the wrong rally, go to the smaller rally behind me, man, that's a red flag. When somebody said, you should not assign sex at birth, that means if I give birth to a small child today, I should not call him girl or boy. Hey, Mama Chine, do what you born. Let's make I wait 6 years. I never know what my picking go be yet. I never know what it go be. But you get preco, you get vagina. But I go wait 6 years. Make the picking talk what it be. That is madness being introduced into our sanity. That alone was my greatest displeasure for the Democrats. When you say men can give birth, when you begin to put tampons in male bathrooms, and you say, hey, I should accept it, that is gradually introducing sodomy into our subconsciousness. That is accepting the very reason God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. I am one person that respects and loves the penis. I am one person that respects and loves the vagina. I am one person that believes the vagina is a receptor and the penis is a giver. I am one person that believes in the binary construct of life. God created the penis to give sperm, and God created the vagina to receive sperm for the purpose of procreation. And so it is with other animals, the goats, the pigs, the elephants, the lions, whatever. How come we claim that we as human beings, we are the higher animals. And we corrupt our system of reproduction by not even identifying what sexual class we belong. But the animals we classify as lower don't have things we call gays or Gabriel or whatever. Imagine you have a poultry and you saw the male hens climbing other male hens. Trust me, you will say something is wrong. Imagine you rear goats and you see your male goats not attracted to the female goat. You definitely say something is wrong, because the purpose of rearing those goats is they multiply so that you have food. Now, it's amazing that we are gradually inching to a life, to a world where immorality is beginning to be accepted as a way of life. People now make a case, an argument for what is immoral. And I'm wondering, is it that knowledge has now opened doors to embrace what is wrong or what is bad? Please tell me something I don't know. If you are still thinking the way I'm thinking, it's because you have a grace. Very few of us still have our sanities intact. Very few of us still have our sanities intact. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump is a perfect human being. I'm not saying he's a perfect human being. But when I hear a man saying that he's going to make a law to prohibit teachers to tell children what sex they should identify, to convince children they probably may be locked in a different sexual body, that's a red flag for me. A child born with a penis is a boy. A child born with a vagina is a girl. That is how we have identified sex since creation. We cannot claim that our knowledge has become so sophisticated that we begin to question the very essence of creation, to the extent that we begin to apportion what sex a child should be based on how he feels. Sex is not how you feel. Sex is who you are. And trust me, when God created the penis, he created it to have all the pleasures that it can give to the woman. When God created the vagina, it created all the pleasures it can give to a man. It's a beautiful experience. It's a wonderful experience. And for some reason, if you now think that the best way you can get pleasure is by sticking your kahuna into an anus, something is definitely wrong. Society is beginning to accept the depravities of sin to become a culture. If that is the case, it means we have lost it and it must be stopped. Just so that you don't think I have missed the very essence of this topic is the fact that our president, oh my goodness, Maleke Sandarabu, I reject this mouth. Your president congratulated Donald Trump on his victory. Now, it's amazing and befuddling that a president who came out of a system that he used his money to buy, buying INEC, buying judiciary, buying almost everybody that can be bought, is congratulating a system where, should Donald Trump had practiced just a little of what you did in the Nigerian election, he will be in jail. He will be in jail. So I believe Bola Ahmed Tinubu have insulted Americans. Tinubu has insulted Americans by extending a congratulatory message to the American president. As a matter of fact, I'm angry, I am disappointed, I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. And if there's a man called Mahmoud Yakubu, if you are watching this video, you too should be ashamed of yourselves. Because the Nigerian presidential, calm down. The Nigerian presidential election was modeled along the American system. How come the whole world could watch the American system, nobody is crying that I am rigged. Nobody is crying that ballots were snatched. Nobody's complaining that people were beaten. Nobody's complaining that me le dibo fibo. Nobody's saying that if you didn't vote for this person, leave Arkansas or leave Ohio or leave this thing. All the rubbishes we saw in America were not reported in the American election. Both Democrats and Republicans queued up and voted. Nobody intimidated another person because you are not voting for who I am voting for. So if we can be marveled by a system that endeared the love and admiration of all the world, how is it so difficult that we can truly emulate that system and everybody will be open to its outcome? Nobody wants to win at all costs, provided the outcome is from a free and fair election. Nobody has to be unalived on account of an election.